On a deserted highway, Daniel is driving while his friend Lucas sleeps in the passenger seat. Daniel calls his name a few times, but Lucas doesn't respond. So he finally shouts to wake him up. Annoyed, Lucas swears at him, but Daniel casually replies that he just wanted someone to talk to because he was bored. He then warns Lucas not to drink too much water because he doesn't plan on stopping the car. Lucas tells him to relax, saying that he is like a camel. Not long into the drive, Lucas gives Daniel a desperate look, signaling that he has to pee. The two argue for a moment before Daniel finally pulls over, telling him to make it quick. As Lucas is relieving himself, the car horn suddenly blares. Startled, he yells at Daniel to knock it off. He quickly zips up his pants and rushes back to the car, only to find all the doors and even the trunk wide open. Confused, he calls out Daniel's name, but there's no response. Lucas closes the doors and the trunk before getting back inside. The moment he sits down, the horn stops. He grabs his phone and calls Daniel, only to realize Daniel's phone is still inside the car. Hearing a strange noise behind him, Lucas turns around, but there's no one there. Then, without warning, the radio switches on by itself. He quickly turns it off. Out of nowhere, Daniel's body crashes through the windshield. Before Daniel can say anything, he is violently dragged away by an unseen force. Lucas rushes to him, desperately trying to wake him up, but it's no use. He grabs the car keys from Daniel's pocket and jumps back into the car. That's when he notices a dark figure standing silently in the shadows, watching him. Lucas immediately starts the car and speeds away. He lets out a relieved sigh, but it doesn't last long. The same figure appears ahead of him on the road. Assuming he's hallucinating, Lucas nervously laughs it off. But then the figure appears again. And again. Suddenly, the figure appears right inside the car. The story then shifts to a couple, Maddie and Tyler, as they finish packing up their apartment in Brooklyn and set off to live in a van. Although Maddie is a little hesitant about the arrangement, she agrees because it means so much to Tyler. Before they hit the road, Tyler surprises Maddie with a gift. She smiles as she opens it to find a Bob Ross figurine.
Perfect, baby. Thank you.
Maddie then turns on the satellite GPS, but Tyler tells her they won't need it because he has a St. Christopher medallion. He claims it will keep them safe throughout the journey. Maddie laughs and says she'd still rather trust the GPS, prompting Tyler to tease that she is going to hell. As the hours pass, the couple enjoys the drive, laughing and chatting together. 6 weeks later, they're parked by a beautiful beach. Maddie suggests stopping for barbecue on their way to the hot springs, but Tyler tells her their reservation is at 6, and they don't have time for an extra stop. Still, Maddie insists that barbecue would make the trip perfect, and eventually convinces him. About an hour later, they end up stuck in heavy traffic, causing them to miss their reservation at the hot springs. Maddie apologizes, feeling guilty for insisting on the barbecue stop. As night falls, Tyler parks the van on a quiet residential street. Looking outside, Maddie notices a happy family spending time together inside their home, and longingly hopes that one day she and Tyler will have a permanent home of their own. Tyler opens a bottle of champagne to celebrate their 6 weeks on the road. He says it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but Maddie admits it feels much longer to her. Tyler then tosses flowers onto the floor and switches on a string of fairy lights. Surprised, Maddie asks when he managed to set all of that up. When she turns back around, she finds Tyler down on one knee. He admits that this wasn't how he planned it. He had wanted to propose at the hot springs, where it would have been much more romantic. But he tells her that if they've managed to survive 6 weeks living together on the road, they can survive anything. With that, Tyler asks Maddie to marry him. Before she can answer, a loud knock suddenly echoes through the van. A neighborhood watch volunteer stands outside the van, informs them that overnight parking isn't allowed, and asks them to move. Maddie then quietly whispers, "Yes." Overjoyed, Tyler lifts her into his arms and kisses her. Back on the road, Tyler suggests heading to the nearest hotel for the night. Maddie happily agrees, saying she could really use a hot bath. A few minutes later, she notices Tyler struggling to stay awake and offers to take over the driving, but he insists he's fine.
Mads, you're looking at the road warrior.
As Maddie looks at her engagement ring thoughtfully, she accidentally drops it onto the floor and reaches down to retrieve it. Lucas suddenly comes speeding down the road, bumps into the van, and starts honking nonstop. Maddie signals for him to pass, but he keeps pace with them. Eventually, he speeds ahead, and Tyler tells Maddie to slow down. Then, Maddie spots the same car they encountered earlier, now crashed into a tree. Maddie stops the van and Tyler calls 911. Moments later, Lucas tumbles out of the wrecked car. Maddie alerts Tyler before stepping out to help him, but to her horror, Lucas is suddenly yanked back inside. Panicked, she tells Tyler what she just saw. Tyler cautiously approaches the wreck, opens the driver's door, and asks Lucas if he's okay. Suddenly, the airbag deploys with tremendous force, instantly killing Lucas. Outside, Maddie notices 3 scratch marks on the wrecked car. A moment later, she hears twigs snapping. Looking toward the woods, she catches sight of a tall, shadowy figure standing in the distance. But in the blink of an eye, the figure disappears.
Hi, are you okay?
Don't come in here, okay, Matt? I do not want to see this.
Tyler walks over to Maddie, and she quietly tells him that something about the whole situation feels wrong and that they need to leave. Just then, the police arrive, and Tyler explains everything that happened. Maddie gets back into the van. As she sits there, she suddenly hears the sound of someone breathing from the back of the vehicle. She quickly turns around, but there's no one there. After checking into a motel, Maddie reviews the van's dashcam footage. Strangely, the recording cuts out just moments before Lucas crashes. She points it out to Tyler, who agrees it's strange but tells her not to worry about it. Tyler tells Maddie about a van life meetup happening the next day and asks if she'd like to go. She agrees. The following morning, as they walk toward the van, they notice 3 scratch marks on the side of the van. Visibly unsettled, Maddie tells Tyler that they're identical to the scratches she saw on the crashed car the night before.
You know, his car was all types of dinged up.
Later, they arrive at the van life meetup. Maddie jokingly tells Tyler that he's finally found his tribe. Tyler grins, hops out of the van, and eagerly heads over to meet his favorite van life YouTuber, Brad. Back inside the van, Maddie is shocked to discover that the apples she had left on a plate earlier are rotten. Tyler brings Brad over to show him the van. He introduces Maddie to him and proudly tells Brad that she designed the entire interior.
Honestly, nothing beats this.
Tyler agrees, saying that living on the road has given him a sense of peace. As Brad looks at the van, he notices the strange scratches along its side.
Yeah, we got kicked out of the street we were south camping and
Brad recommends parking at a 24-hour gym instead, pointing out that they can safely stay overnight there while also having access to hot showers. Brad then asks for a tour of the van, and Tyler happily obliges, leaving Maddie to explore the meetup on her own. As she walks around, Maddie notices a man staring at her. Feeling uneasy, she quickly walks through the vendor stalls. Her attention is drawn to a wall covered with missing person posters featuring travelers from across the country. Among them is a drawing of a stick figure with 3 scratch marks across its torso. A woman standing nearby comments that the posters are depressing, and Maddie quietly agrees.
Let me guess. What, 2 months out?
How can you tell?
The woman replies that Maddie doesn't have the obnoxious glow of a first weeker. Maddie asks how long she's been out there.
I lost count 2 decades ago.
Maddie.
The woman introduces herself as Diane Larson. Maddie asks Diane how long it took her to truly adjust to life on the road.
Not what you expected.
Maddie admits that she and her fiancé wanted a change of pace and an adventure, but confesses that the lifestyle doesn't feel like home yet.
But we'll get there.
Maddie then asks where Diane is headed. Diane replies that she's on her way to Flagstaff to work at a seafood restaurant owned by her friend.
I got a friend has a little seafood restaurant, middle of the desert.
Smiling, Maddie wishes her a safe journey. Diane returns the sentiment before warning her that life on the road can be frightening. Maddie agrees and tells her about the car crash the night before. Diane's expression immediately changes. She asks Maddie if they stopped. Confused, Maddie asks what she means. Diane tells her to stay off the quieter roads and, above all, never drive at night. And if they ever have to, she warns them never to stop for anything. With an ominous look, Diane says, "People don't take trips. Trips take people." Just then, Tyler arrives, looking for Maddie.
Take care, Maddie. I want to see you up there next time I'm back.
As they return to the van, Maddie is surprised to see that all the mysterious scratch marks are gone. Tyler casually explains that he knows someone who knew a guy at a body shop, and they fixed the paint for free. That night, Maddie and Tyler join the rest of the campers for a Burning Man-style celebration. Tyler is quickly pulled into the festivities by a group of people. Suddenly, Maddie spots the same figure she saw near the car crash the night before, standing in the distance. When she looks again, the figure is gone. Later that night, the couple stops at the 24-hour gym. After finishing her workout and showering, Maddie tells Tyler she's heading back to the van while he finishes up. Maddie walks toward the van in the parking lot while absent-mindedly scrolling through funny TikTok videos. Then she notices a suspicious-looking car parked nearby. Distracted by it, she doesn't see a pickup truck coming. Maddie takes off her earbuds and lets out a sigh of relief as the suspicious car finally pulls out of the parking lot. She starts walking toward the van when she suddenly hears loud footsteps behind her. She turns around, but there is no one there. Shaken, she looks back and realizes the van somehow seems much farther away than it was just moments ago. Then, the parking lot lights suddenly go out. Cautiously, Maddie continues forward until the lights flicker back on. She hears the footsteps again. Once more, she turns around, but there's still no one in sight. Panicking, she unlocks the van and quickly climbs inside. She immediately checks the security camera feeds, but they show nothing unusual. Just then, she receives an update from one of the van's dash cam recordings. She opens it and watches footage of Lucas's car moments before the crash. On the passenger side, she spots the same figure she has been seeing since that night. Suddenly, the van's horn begins blaring before abruptly cutting off. At the same time, the lights inside the van begin flickering. Maddie frantically switches between the security camera feeds until every screen suddenly goes black. A second later, the feed returns, and the figure is staring directly into the camera. She hurriedly texts Tyler for help. Behind her, the rear doors of the van slowly creak open. Maddie buckles her seatbelt. Then, without warning, the seatbelt tightens around her body, crushing her against the seat. A hand wraps around her throat, choking her. Desperate, Maddie grabs Tyler's St. Christopher medallion. Maddie immediately throws open the door and stumbles out of the van. Tyler comes running over. Frantically, Maddie tells him that someone is inside the van. Tyler checks but finds no one.
I'm telling you, he grabbed me and then on the dash cam. Okay, let me show.
Tyler gently tells her that the dash cam doesn't record while the van is parked. Maddie then replays the footage of the moment she saw the figure in the passenger seat of Lucas's car. This time, the figure is gone. Even so, Tyler assures her that he believes her.
What do you look like?
But Maddie shakes her head and simply says she wants to leave the parking lot.
Mistakes in life. Just make them birds.
Bob really was your happy place, huh?
Maddie nods, saying that no matter where she moved, watching Bob Ross was the one constant she could always count on.
I guess to me that meant he was kind of home.
Tyler tells her that having both parents under one roof doesn't automatically make it a home because, from the outside, families may look perfect. But behind closed doors, they can be trapped in lives they don't want.
But this van, was my way to escape all of that.
Later, they stop at a gift shop. While Tyler browses through souvenirs, Maddie's attention is drawn to a book titled Haunted Highways of America. Flipping through its pages, she comes across a section about the Hobo Code, a system of symbols used by drifters to warn fellow travelers of danger and help them navigate safely across the country. One symbol immediately catches her eye. It's the same 3 scratch marks she's seen before. According to the book, the symbol warns travelers that danger is nearby. Disturbed, Maddie decides to buy the book. Tyler excitedly tells her that he has found a secluded campsite deep in the forest and promises she's going to love it. That night, while Tyler sets up a projector outside to surprise Maddie with a movie night, she continues researching the Hobo Code. The more she searches, the deeper she falls down the rabbit hole. She eventually finds an article describing a series of mysterious car wrecks, all of which had the same 3 scratch marks. The article mentioned that whenever those marks appear, it means the passenger is nearby, and anyone who sees them should run. Still unsettled, Maddie opens another website where someone recounts how their sister died in a car crash under mysterious circumstances, with no one ever discovering what really caused it. Before she can read any further, Tyler calls her outside. Smiling, she joins him. He tells her to stop worrying about everything that happened over the past couple of days and simply enjoy. Maddie nods. Soon, Roman Holiday begins playing on the projector. Tyler smiles and tells her it's his favorite movie.
My boy. We actually get the better ending. And she goes home by herself without Joe at the end.
Right.
But us, we're getting married. We get to keep doing this forever.
Maddie quietly says that, eventually, they'll have to return to reality. Tyler reveals that his former boss recently contacted him and offered him his old job back, this time as a fully remote position.
That's, great.
Don't exactly sound thrilled.
She admits that she doesn't know how much longer they can keep living this way. Constantly searching for somewhere to park, sleep, and shower every day is becoming exhausting. She looks at Tyler and honestly tells him that she loves him, but she doesn't love this lifestyle. She explains that, unlike him, who grew up in a stable home, she spent her childhood moving from one foster home to another, so she's never had a place to truly call home. Surprised, Tyler says he thought she loved this lifestyle. Maddie admits that she did at first. In the beginning, it was exciting and felt like a real adventure. Before she can continue, Tyler asks if she's saying they should slow down.
I want to stop.
Maddie gently tells Tyler to look at her. She says she saw how happy he looked at the van life meetup. She explains that she's not asking him to give up his dream. She's just worried. Suddenly, the lights go out. Then they notice something pressing against the screen from the other side. Tyler cautiously walks over and yanks the screen down, but there is nothing there. Maddie grabs the projector and sweeps its light across the surrounding woods. Tyler asks if she sees anything. She replies, "No." Then they hear the unmistakable sound of a branch snapping, followed by slow, heavy footsteps. Then, she comes face to face with the passenger entity. Tyler shoves her into the van and slams the door shut. The entity leaps onto the roof of the van and starts pounding. Panicking, Maddie tells Tyler they have to leave immediately. Tyler reaches for the keys, only to realize he left them outside. He tells Maddie to stay inside while he goes to retrieve them. Tyler frantically searches around the folding chairs. Then he hears the faint jingle of keys somewhere in the darkness. Following the sound, he spots them and quickly grabs them. Just then, Maddie rushes out to help him. Together, they sprint back to the van and speed away. A while later, they pull into a roadside diner. Still shaken, Maddie explains what she learned about the Hobo code.
This is on our van.
And the car that crashed, it latches onto you when you're on the road. Some people call him the passenger.
Tyler suggests burning the van, but Maddie shakes her head and says that, according to everything she's read, it isn't the van that's marked. It's them. A moment later, Maddie excuses herself and heads to the restroom. Maddie suddenly realizes they need to find Diane, the nomad she met at the van life meetup.
Longer than 2 months.
We need to find Diane.
Who?
The nomad from the van meet.
She tells him that Diane tried to warn her about the entity and might know how to stop him. Tyler asks where they could possibly find her.
She was headed to Flagstaff to work in a seafood restaurant.
Can't be many of those. Flagstaff is a straight shot from here. Let's go.
No. She said not to drive at night.
The following morning, they set out for Flagstaff. Hours into the journey, one of the van's tires is punctured by a nail in the road, forcing them to pull over. Tyler assures Maddie he'll change the tire as quickly as possible. As Tyler loosens the bolts, Maddie hears a strange noise nearby and wanders off to investigate. Tyler throws the damaged tire aside. When he reaches for the bolts, they're gone. He asks Maddie if she's seen them. She shakes her head. Taking the flashlight from her, Tyler shines it beneath the van and spots the missing bolts underneath. Meanwhile, Maddie notices a distant light repeatedly flickering on and off. At the same time, the car jack slowly begins to slip. A few moments later, Maddie notices that the rear doors of the van have mysteriously swung open. Before she can react, the passenger suddenly grabs her and violently yanks her into the darkness. Desperate to help, Tyler tries to crawl out from beneath the van. Just then, the jack gives way, and the van crashes down onto his leg. Screaming in agony, he manages to pull himself free. He repeatedly shouts Maddie's name before grabbing the St. Christopher medallion. Ignoring the pain, Tyler hurriedly installs the spare tire, jumps into the van, and speeds off to find her. Maddie regains consciousness at the scene of a roadside crash. Cautiously, she approaches the wreckage. She suddenly hears Tyler calling her name. Relieved, she runs over and hugs him. But almost immediately, she senses something is terribly wrong. The illusion vanishes as the passenger forces her to her knees with her arms stretched out. At that exact moment, Tyler comes speeding down the road. He swerves at the last second to avoid hitting her. After calling multiple seafood restaurants, the couple finally locates the one where Diane works. After speaking with the manager, they learn where she is and eventually track her down at a van camp. They ask a group of campers if anyone knows where Diane Larson is.
Can't help you. Take your Airbnb on wheels and get out of here.
Diane approaches them and demands to know why they're there. The couple tells her everything that's happened and explains that the passenger is hunting them. The moment Diane hears this, panic spreads across her face. She orders them to leave immediately before whistling for everyone in the camp to get back inside their vehicles. Confused, Maddie asks what she's doing. Diane tells her they brought evil into the camp. Maddie says that the passenger has been following them everywhere.
And he's going to keep coming. What is it?
She explains that no one truly knows what the entity is, only that it's a highwayman from hell that feeds on pain, death, and suffering by causing deadly crashes along isolated roads. Diane says that once he marks someone, most victims don't survive more than a few days.
So, how come you lived on the road so long and not run into it? Why'd it pick us?
Because you stopped.
She explains that experienced nomads follow the warning signs, obey the old rules of the road, and never ignore them. Tyler then asks her if they can beat him.
I heard him.
What?
The first time he attacked me, he let go when our St. Christopher medallion touched him.
Diane pauses for a moment before recalling an old story she once heard. Long ago, a truck driver supposedly escaped the passenger and found refuge in a remote church outside Grand Junction called St. Christopher Church. According to the legend, the church's holy ground may be able to destroy the entity, and if it can't, Diane says, perhaps they'll at least find salvation there. Tyler asks where the church is located.
It's not on any map you'll find.
How do we get there? Come on!
It's on a dead-end road in the middle of a desert. And you need to know how to read the signs.
She sighs, then tells them she can lead them there. Just then, the wind suddenly begins to howl. They immediately realize what it means.
We gotta get out of here.
The passenger is nearby. Tyler and Maddie rush toward their van, but as Maddie reaches for the door, it suddenly slams shut on her hand. Diane yells at them to hurry. Before she can say anything else, the passenger materializes behind her and violently snaps her neck, killing her instantly. With no time to help, Tyler and Maddie speed away. They stop at a gas station. Still shaken, Maddie admits that she's terrified after coming so close to death. Tyler notices her injured hand and grabs the first aid kit. Despite the pain from his own crushed leg, he carefully bandages her hand. Maddie tells him they have to reach St. Christopher Church. Tyler agrees. Before leaving, they buy every St. Christopher medallion they can find and hang them all around the van, hoping they'll offer some protection. As Tyler researches St. Christopher on his phone, Maddie continues driving.
When he was younger, he wandered the roads with a nomadic monk. One morning, the monk suddenly stopped in his tracks, terrified by a cross on the side of the road. Christopher then realized he wasn't traveling with a man of God. This was a demon who takes the form of a preacher as an act of blasphemy.
After a while, her vision suddenly becomes blurry. When she blinks, she's horrified to realize it's somehow nighttime. Moments later, Tyler also snaps out of the passenger's trance. The two panic, realizing they've somehow lost several hours without noticing. Tyler tells Maddie they need to turn back toward the nearest town. Just then, she notices they're almost out of fuel. A moment later, Maddie spots an old hobo symbol. Confused, Tyler asks why she's stopping. She points to the symbol and asks him to trust her. Following the markings, Maddie turns off the highway and drives onto a rough, overgrown trail.
Someone or something put that symbol there for us to see.
As they make their way through the uneven terrain, the radio suddenly switches on by itself. Tyler repeatedly tries to turn it off, but nothing works. Finally, he smashes it, silencing it for good. Not long after, they come across another hobo symbol directing them to turn left. Ahead lies a narrow, weathered road. Hopeful, Maddie says she's sure the church must be somewhere down this road.
How do we get through?
I'll guide you.
Tyler gets out of the van and limps toward one of the vehicles. After taking a closer look, he signals for Maddie to drive on. She sees him stopping and approaches him. Her heart sinks as she sees countless dead bodies on the way to the church. Tyler quickly tells her not to believe what she's seeing. He insists that none of it is real. The passenger is trying to frighten them and stop them from reaching the church. Ignoring the horrifying sights around her, Maddie drives straight through the field of bodies. Without warning, the rear doors suddenly burst open, and the passenger rips away the St. Christopher medallions hanging inside. The passenger simply twists Tyler's wrist violently, forcing him to drop the medallion. Tyler turns to Maddie and desperately tells her to get to the church. The passenger hurls him out of the moving van. The entity then shifts its attention to Maddie. Determined, Maddie races towards St. Christopher Church. At the last second, she slams on the brakes, throwing the passenger off the van and onto the church's holy ground. She speeds toward the church with the passenger latched onto the hood of the van, then slams straight into the St. Christopher statue. She throws the van into reverse before accelerating again, this time ramming the passenger into the statue's spear. The entity turns to ash before exploding. A short while later, Tyler, battered but alive, limps toward Maddie.
You lost everything.
Maddie smiles softly and tells him they haven't lost everything. Tyler smiles back and gently slips it onto her finger. With the nightmare finally over, they use the GPS to call emergency services and wait for help to arrive.